Hey everyone, Tom Butwin here for Premier Guitar, and today we are checking out 3 wireless systems for your guitar from Blackstar, NUX, and Positive Grid. As with any kind of technology, when wireless guitar units were first invented in the mid-1970s, it was a game changer for musicians, but it wasn't necessarily accessible to the average guitar player out there. Obviously, that has changed over the years. When it comes to these 3 units, they are all compact, very simple to use. They all have USB-C charging capability, and you don't have to worry about fresh batteries anymore. So let's dig into these and see what they're all about. From Positive Grid, we have the Spark Link. Now, as you can see, the transmitter and receiver on the Spark Link are small enough to put in your pocket. Now, what's most important about a wireless system, though, is its range and reliability. For the Spark Link, you've got 70 feet of line of sight range, which for the vast majority of us is going to be plenty. How often are you more than 70 feet away from your pedal board or amp? Not often. So whether you're at home or in a small club, this is going to be plenty to get you through that gig. It operates on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency spectrum, so it's reliable, rock solid, and sounds great, which is also very important. You really don't want your tone to be changed at all, in most cases, with a wireless system. As with all the units we're going to take a look at today, it has USB-C charging. So if you're like me and you finally entered the world of having a phone that has a USB-C charging port on it, you're sort of starting to homogenize all your cables to USB-C, which is becoming sort of the new standard for data transfer and powering things. So very versatile to be able to charge these. You get 6 hours of playtime on a full charge, which I think is more than enough for most of us. You know, usually gigs are anywhere between 2, 3, 4 hours. So if you're not leaving this on set breaks, you've got plenty of charge in one battery charge to get through a gig. Now, if you become the envy of your band because you have such a small compact wireless system, there are 4 channels available. So up to 4 of you on stage can be using the Positive Grid Spark Link without any issues. From NUX, we have the B-8 wireless system. Now, this takes an approach that's slightly different than the other 2 systems that we have here today. This is pedal board based. So you have this receiving unit, which we'll talk about here in a second, which looks like your typical stomp box. And then you have a small pack, and I do mean small. So if you remember the wireless packs of days past, they are much smaller now. But traditional wireless pack you put on your strap with a 1/4-inch cable here. Now, of course, bass, guitar, whatever you want, you could plug into this, which is super cool. Let's talk about some of the features here. Obviously, the range is important. You've got a really, really nice range on this, up to 160 feet, which is more than enough for, I would say, almost all of us who are going to be using a wireless system. Low latency, you've got 2.5 milliseconds of latency in low latency mode. You also have a stable mode, which you can try as well depending on the environment that you're in. This does operate on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency range. So let's talk about a few features that might not be so obvious with the B-8 from NUX. The battery in the transmitter can be charged, of course, by USB-C, which is great, as we've said. Nice to have that sort of start to become the uniform standard as far as charging cables goes. You don't have to have a million different adapters, but that's not the only way you can charge this and get that 6.5 hours battery life. You have your base station here, the stomp box, and if you notice, you put them together, bang. Charges just like this. It's magnetically connected, so when it's on your pedal board, if you have a set break or something like that, just plop it down on there and it's going to be charging without having to pull out the adapter and find an outlet and plug in the USB-C cable. But of course, you do have that available to you. Now, one other thing you might notice about the transmitter is that it has a switch on here called cable tone. This is a way that you can warm up your signal just a little bit to make it closer to what you would get with a hardwired guitar to DI or guitar to amp setup. So on the receiver, you do have a built-in tuner. Of course, you can mute so you can tune silently. You also have a boost function on here if you need to boost your signal. When it comes to in and out on this pedal, you do have inputs, outputs, you have a send and a return, so you can bring in an effects loop kind of setup if you would like to. With this, very versatile, not just a simple in and out, so you have a lot of different ways you can incorporate this into your existing pedal board setup. Additional in and out on the back, and this is really cool, you have a DI XLR out. So if you're an acoustic player or you want to route your signal to multiple places, this is also really, really helpful, very convenient. Don't have to have a separate DI, which is cool. You've got a ground lift, USB-C for any firmware updates, and of course your 9-volt power input, which is standard across the board, of course, with pedal boards. Within the menus and controls here, it's very intuitive, very easy to use. You're gonna be controlling things like pairing, what the foot switch does, whether it's a boost or the mute for the tuner, how much gain you want on that boost. You can even upload custom graphics to the screen if you would like. So lots of cool things you can do, but ultimately a very simple and easy to use interface on the receiver that fits on your pedal board, allows you to charge the transmitter. It's a really nice, compact, simple, reliable wireless guitar system. From Blackstar, we have the AirWire i58. This is about as compact and sleek as you can get when it comes to a wireless system. You can see that the two of these put together here can easily fit in your pocket, probably smaller than your wallet or phone for sure. Very, very simple to use, very reliable. So let's dig into some of the features here. Obviously, very simple transmitter, receiver setup, both with a foldable and repositionable 1/4-inch jack. Also on the AirWire i58, you have a cable tone switch, so you can roll off some of that high end, warm up your signal just a little bit so it sounds similar to having a cable directly connected between you and the DI or amp. Now, of course, most importantly with a wireless system is its reliability and range. On the i58, you get about a 100-foot range. So again, plenty of distance, plenty of range for almost all of us out there using something like this. Very reliable. Now, this one operates on the 5.8 gigahertz frequency range. So it's a little bit different than the other two. Obviously, there are pros and cons to both. The AirWire i58 also has an active algorithm that is constantly seeking out and adjusting for interference. So it's going to make it even more rock solid in that 5.8 gigahertz range. Now, you can use 4 of these on stage. There are 4 different channels. So if one of your bandmates likes the looks of the Blackstar Airwire i58, you can tell them, hey, we can have up to 4 on stage with us without any issues, which is super cool. Very easy. You can have all the wireless capabilities that you would need in most bands. The other really cool thing about this, USB-C charging, of course, but a 9-hour battery life. Now that is enough, I would say, for easily 2 gigs. Play one, forget to charge it, plug it in, you can probably play the entire second gig. I would charge it beforehand, but just in case you forget, that's a lot of battery time, no replaceable batteries. It's just all included here and easily chargeable with the USB-C port. So there you have it, 3 wireless systems, all slightly different. Some use different frequency ranges, some have different interfaces, some are different entirely with a traditional body pack setup paired with a foot pedal. So something for everybody, something to think about, something to try out, and certainly a way to make your performing and practicing life more convenient. If you've never played wirelessly at home, which you might think, why do you need to do that? It's actually kind of nice. You don't have to worry about tripping over a cable at home either. So could be something to think about for your rehearsal space or practice space. It might make your life easier. Certainly will make your life easier on stage. Once again, my name is Tom Butwin here for Premier Guitar, and I will see you in the next one.